Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. I see here with us we have Deepak Modi ji, Ashwini ji, Atul Kumar ji, Sumit ji, Sangeeta ji, Karuna Guppy ji, Nandini Priya ji, Mohit, Madhav, Archana, Rinki, Krupa, uh, Radha, Harini, Triveni, Venuthari, Devyani, Vasundhara, Janki, Dr. Challa, Anadi Anshuman Prabhu, Nancy, Kishori, Rani Mataji, then Sripati Madhav Gopri. Just uh, really happy that all of you are here and acknowledging all of your presence. Ishwarji, PPG, Guru Garang Prabhu, Dayagor Prabhu, Pramila Krishnan, Atharva, Mehtaji, Sanvi ji, Ambika, Leela Madhuri ji. Uh, so 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 happy. Papiya, Lakshmi, Aditi, Resh, Sonali, Chaitanya. So the number is growing as I'm just calling out. So I'll just want to acknowledge each and every one of your presence out here. So without much ado, let's begin the discussion today. So we are just inaugurating this very unique and special course called the Gita and Emotional Intelligence. It is based on this book of mine. It's called the Gita Companion. So Bhagavad Gita as your companion. You see here in this book, you have this person who is distraught, who is going through some difficulty and reversals, and he is clueless as to how he is going to overcome those challenges in life. And here behind, you see there is Krishna. And very interestingly, Krishna is holding the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna said, I personally delivered Arjuna out of his difficulty and his despondency and reversal. But for you, oh dear soul, in Kali Yuga, you have the Bhagavad Gita, the original Bhagavad Gita which Krishna spoke, that has the potency, that has the same power as Krishna. And if we can access the knowledge of the Gita, then just as there's the magical effect which Arjuna had in his life, the same magical effect each one of us can experience through the Bhagavad Gita. And that's what this book is all about. And you see, it has this emotion wheel. You see this emotion wheel, and there are a host of different emotions that you see on this. So basically, we all go through different problems and challenges in life. And while going through all of these different problems and challenges, how many of you feel that there are at least one or two difficulties in your life, reversals or challenges in your life currently right now, which you would wish you could resolve or solve? You know, type R resolve in the chat box if you would like to resolve your difficulties and challenges. Okay, only three out of the 53. Okay, yes, everyone wants to solve the problems. Wow, wonderful. That's the spirit. So all of us want solutions. Yes, here we go. Here we go. So all of us want solutions to problems, and we may have your problem may be different from my problem. Sumit ji's problem may be different from Ashwini ji's or Sangeeta ji's or Deepak ji's problems, but the emotions that we go through are universal. A student going through Deepak ji is flashing the book. He has the copy of the book. So the problems that a student may go through may be different from a working professional, or a young person may be having a different problem than an elderly person. But the underlying emotions that all of us go through are the same. They are universal. So a student going through anxiety and a college going person going to anxiety, a school student or a college going person or a working professional or a business owner going through anxiety remains the same. So they may be anxious for different reasons, but anxiety is what they are worried about. Anxiety is what is troubling them. So if you want to, if you go to solve all of these problems, it's a very different, and you will have like so many different people will have different ideas, hmm, or different suggestions, advice, hmm, to solve your problems. But the universal thing amidst all the problems are the emotions, right? People will have different advices, but here we are looking at Krishna's advice, and Krishna's advice for the emotion that you are going through. So इस दुनिया में कहते हैं ना कि साथ और सलाह में क्या फर्क है. hmm? साथ और सलाह में I'll add in a little bit of Hindi. I'm seeing all desis out here, so so साथ और सलाह में क्या फर्क है कि 1000 से आप साथ मांगो, कोई एक साथ देने आएगा, और आप यू नो 1000 से एक से सलाह मांगो, 1000 सलाह देने आएंगे. That's different. Everyone has their own advice that their people are ready to give us, offer us, but कोई साथ देने नहीं आता है. But Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he is giving us both साथ and salah. So he is saying in the Gita, अनन्यश्चिन्तयन्तु मां ये जना पर्युपास्ते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्. Of course, he is giving the salah to Arjun. Krishna is giving his advice to Arjun, but साथ भी दे रहे हैं ना. It was not that Krishna just gave that advice before the battlefield. Oh Arjun, this is what you are supposed to do. Don't run away from your duty. And then Krishna said, okay, Tata, bye. Best of luck for your struggles in life. No, Krishna didn't stop there. Krishna stood up on the chariot, giving Arjuna direction, giving Arjuna support all through the battle, right? So अगर आपको साथ चाहिए तो सलाह ज्यादा मिलती है, लेकिन अगर आपको साथ और सलाह दोनों मिल रहे हो, I think there can't be a better combination. How many of you agree with this? Type yes, that we want both Saath and Salah, the advice and the support. You can type Y in the chat box. Okay, wonderful. So let's zoom into the presentation. I have a wonderful presentation for today's introduction. So I'm talking about the book. So it has all of these 18 different universal emotions that we go through, and the book gives roadmaps for us. For example, I spoke of anxiety. So all of us, go through anxiety in life, and then we want to go to the state of serenity, of peace, of calm. Bhagavad Gita offers us the roadmaps to go from anxiety to serenity. So just as Google gives us Google Maps, कि भाई आपको point A से point B पे जाना है, डाल दो origin destination, आपको route दिखा देंगे. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita offers us the Gita maps to take us from the problems, to take us from the situations which we feel have no solutions, to the actual solutions. Arjuna, he began the Bhagavad Gita by saying, Nahi prapashyami mamapanudhya yat shoka uchoshanam indriyanam. That I don't see any solution to the completely discouraging and depressing situation I am in. And he started with that. I don't see any solution, O Krishna. And he ended by saying that Nashta moho smritir labdhva tvat prayasadat mayachuta stitosmi gata sandeha karishya vachanam tava. In the 18th chapter, he says, Krishna, all my doubts have evaporated. In the beginning, he said, there is nothing which can evaporate this confusion. There's nothing which can evaporate or solve this dilemma that I have. Right? All of us are somewhere or the other in our lives caught up with some certain dilemmas, certain difficulties, certain seemingly unsolvable problems. And then, we feel that I think there's no solution to this. But then, like Arjuna, got the journey, got the solution, got the roadmap to come to that state of peace, to that state of internal resilience and strength, we all can attain that. And that's what the Bhagavad Gita is meant for us. All of us have heard Gita has solutions to all problems, but no one till now has really shown exactly how. So this is our attempt that Gita is going to show us the solutions to the problems, and that's what we'll be exploring in this course. This is a 3-month course for all of your information. This is a 3-month course. This course is certified by the Mumbai University Center for Hindu Studies, Mumbai University, and in association with Mumbai University, we at the Inplug Academy and ISKCON, we are running this course where we'll take you through this journey of finding emotional resolution, emotional connection, emotional transformation through the Bhagavad Gita. And the course is going to be held Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 3:30 p.m. So we strongly recommend that all of you make time for being present in the course. But if not, the recordings will be available on the Inplug platform. So today we have a free masterclass, but the fortunate ones would be signing up for the whole course and seeing the whole journey and finding out solutions. So see you all inside the course after this masterclass. So let us begin the presentation. Are you all ready? Have I awakened your appetite to understand that how can Gita give a universal solution to all the problems? Yes? Wow. So थोड़ा सा आप जितना yes बोलेंगे मुझे भी enthusiasm बढ़ेगा. Yes, they are ready. Wonderful. Great. That's so beautiful. So I'm going to share the screen now. Superb. Really loved it. Okay, are you able to see the screen now? Okay. Yeah. So Bhagavad Gita and emotional intelligence. Rewire your emotions for growth and happiness through the wisdom of the Gita. So these are the contents during the course of these next 3 months, and I'm sure all of you would be very enthusiastically participating. For the next 3 months, this is what is going to be unleashed, unraveled. These are the contents of the course. We will be looking at emotional bankruptcy, the balance sheet of a poor emotional bank account. So all of us want to become rich and wealthy financially, definitely yes. But how about emotional richness? Many times in our life, we find ourselves to be emotionally bankrupt, emotionally empty. That sense, feeling of emptiness, that feeling of vacuum, which people call midlife crisis, or these days they call it quarter life crisis. अभी 25 में लोग बोलते हैं कुछ नहीं है जी, हाँ, कि there is nothing. I have seen it all, done it all, and I am feeling vacuum in life. So how about becoming emotionally rich? And what is the balance sheet of a poor emotional bank account? So this is the first thing that we'll see, and today we'll try to see that. Then the second is emotional assessment. So how do you know that you are emotionally rich or poor? So I have, based on the Bhagavad Gita and the scriptures and modern psychology, a matrix, an assessment by which you can realize and understand what's your emotional maturity and age. Just as all of us, which is called the growth age, we grow physically in our growth age. But many of us, we probably stop growing emotionally very early on, or we don't mature emotionally as per our potential. And so how do we understand what's our emotional maturity? That is something we'll see. And then we will look into the world of emotions through the lens of neuroscience. What's the neuroscience behind your emotions? Then we will see Bhagavad Gita. What does Bhagavad Gita have? What is the framework of Bhagavad Gita for looking at human emotions? And then finally, we will take you through a journey of emotional mastery. How do we master emotions with the Bhagavad Gita? So these are the contents of our discussion for the next 3 months. And of course, there'll be more things, more nuances, but this is general framework. How many of you are excited to really discover all of this stuff? You can type E in the chat box. Excited. Great. So, today I was really surprised. I was really very pleasantly surprised to see this news that Bhagavad Gita and Natya Shastra have been added to UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. So, how many of you, does someone know about this Memory of the World Register? Okay, so many of you have not heard about it, but the UNESCO keeps a register, which is the memory of the world, which are the important incidents, and treasures, heritage treasures of the world in terms of art, in terms of human evolution, development, etc. Which the arts, artifacts, etc. They keep a register of, of, of all of these very, very valuable heritage arts and artifacts, which we as a race should not forget. Which is such a treasure that we can't afford to forget. We can't afford to, um, you know, uh, we can't afford it to go into the oblivion. Hmm? And so UNESCO just yesterday added Bhagavad Gita and Natya Shastra to its list of world memory of memory of the world register. So beautiful, so wonderful, right? Now, why am I talking about this? Can anyone guess? Why? What is the connection of Bhagavad Gita and Natya Shastra in the UNESCO's Memory of the World Register? The connection is Natya Shastra is about expression of emotions. Natya means drama, and drama is an avenue for expression of human emotions, different, the range of all different emotions: happiness, joy, elation, excitement, or sorrow, distress, grief, agony, pain, gratitude, humility, forgiveness, to envy, pride, all the different types of emotions find their vent of expression in dramatic performances. Yes. So Bharat Muni has created a complete framework of drama in which how the entire science, the functional science of how emotions are awakened. So when you go for a movie or you go for a drama, dramatic performance, what happens? You know it's a fictitious story. You know it's fiction. It is not reality. But then you end up crying. You end up laughing. You end up being worried. You end up being at the edge of your seats. Right? Yes? What happened? Your intelligence knows that it's not for true. But then your emotions are awakened by the way the entire drama or the cinema is being orchestrated. Yes? So Natya Shastra, in Natya Shastra, thousands of years ago, Bharat Muni had given a complete framework of how dramatic performances can awaken and human emotions. And Bhagavad Gita is the lens of philosophy, the lens of universal philosophy, the philosophy of Krishna, uh, the universal philosophy. So we will look at the world of emotions through the lens of the universal philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. And so it's a wonderful coincidence that Bhagavad Gita and Natya Shastra, which is about emotions and philosophy, both are being recognized as UNESCO's Memory of the World. So we are going to take you through this whole this course, in which we will discuss the principles of the Bhagavad Gita, the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, and we will also be sharing with you some of the some of the principles from Natya Shastra about human emotions. So it's also wonderful to see this news. Now coming to so are you all with me? So far it's making sense. That how Bhagavad Gita, we first discussed, the Bhagavad Gita has solutions to all our problems, and how Arjuna started with a state where he could not find any resolution or solution for his problems, and towards the end, after the message of the Gita, he found himself completely light. Initially he was feeling very burdened, then he felt very light and uplifted. So Bhagavad Gita has that power. And then we discussed about the world of emotions. So, and then how we will be bringing together the world of emotions and the Gita philosophy together to help you solve or help you navigate the problem that you are going through. So, let us begin with trying to understand or unravel ये emotional intelligence क्या चीज है. अभी जनरली वी सी इमोशन एंड इंटेलिजेंस इज टू डिफरेंट थिंग्स, राइट. वो ये बंदा बहुत इमोशनल है, अरे ये बंदा बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है. Now, when I'm saying भाई emotional intelligence, putting these two words together, ये oxymoron तो नहीं है. हाँ, कि भाई emotion और intelligence ये तो दोनों अलग अलग चीजें हैं. So, now our conventional understanding is intelligence means someone who is able to solve IIT, JEE, physics and maths problems, right? उसको हम intelligence बोलते हैं. But over a period of last few decades, this myth has been busted by modern science, which has come forth with the research that intelligence is not just limited to mathematical and logical problem solving. There are different types of intelligence, and as you can see in this chart, there is, first I'll share with you the bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Okay, can someone guess? I want some involvement here. Can someone guess? You can type in the chat box. You don't need to unmute and speak. You can type in the chat box that ये kinesthetic, bodily kinesthetic intelligence ये कौन से profession में काम आती है? Which professions? Do you need? Okay, wrestling, dancing, gymnastics, sports. Yes, someone said teaching. Probably, if you have to run after the student, then definitely you will need some bodily kinesthetic chase the student. But yes, for you can see all of the different sports, different types of sports, you need the bodily kinesthetic intelligence, and even for the army, you need the bodily, that physical fitness, that alertness, that alacrity, that that whole ability to mold your body as per need. So that is something which actually is important in many professions, as you see, right? Even yes, for a surgeon also, to be able to make those fine movements of the hands by which they do surgery. So even the pianist, okay, yeah. So driving, yes. So for all of these professions, this kind of intelligence, to be able to understand and to be able to assess that how much, like for example, someone who is taking a long jump, from where to jump, right? From which spot to jump, at what point I should start and then take that leap. So all of these things is something, you see monkeys, they are having this in abundance, bodily kinesthetic. They can swing their way around like no one else. They will exactly know, without any understanding of projectile motion, without any reading of the physics H.C. Verma book. They will know that if I jump from this tree with this velocity, I will land up on that tree, right? Even cats do it. So this is bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Then there's this musical intelligence, and all of us really know that musicians, they have this in abundance. Musicians meaning not just those who are the instrumentalists, but also singers. So the singers, they have this musical intelligence, the pitch, the tone, the rhythm, the variation, all of these things is musical intelligence. And nowadays there's this whole profession of sound engineering, where they say a sound engineer has a golden ear. With just their ears they can make out which frequency is being played, right? So even देखिए ये conventional understanding of if you have to be successful in your career, you just need mathematical and logical intelligence, that is being debunked, because there are so many professions now which need more like different types of human faculties to be employed, right? So you have musical intelligence, then you have naturalist intelligence, understanding living things and reading nature. So let us try to make a guess. Can someone guess ये naturalist intelligence कौन से प्रोफेशन में लगता होगा? गार्डनिंग? What else? बस गार्डनिंग? Botanist? Biologist? Doctor? Agriculture? So true. Environmentalist? Uh, you know, yeah, photography. Yeah. So the naturalist intelligence is understanding living things and reading nature. So animal husbandry, cows and everything you can see where the farmers, if you go into the interior places where the farmers are practicing the organic farming or practicing the natural traditional farming, they will see the way the spider makes its web. I'm not joking here. These farmers, they can see the way a spider makes its web, and then based on that they will predict when will the monsoon onset begin, and how much monsoon rain will come. So they have really studied nature. And um, there's a subhashita which says uh, that amantram aksharam nasti nasti moolam anaushadham. uh, Amantram aksharam nasti nasti moolam anaushadham, which says that there is no moola, there's no root or leaf or plant which cannot act as a medicine, as a herb. Any root, any leaf or any plant can be used as a medicine, but yojaka tatra durlabha. Someone who has that fine nuance understanding of which plant and which root could be used as a herb for which particular disease. So that requires that kind of naturalist intelligence. So there is this musical intelligence, naturalist intelligence, and spatial intelligence. Can someone quickly type out what are some of the spatial intelligence professions? Architecture, designing, yes, interior design, civil engineers, graphic designers, so and so forth. Yeah, so many professions. Linguistic intelligence. Can someone quickly type out linguistic intelligence? Teachers, yes. Dubbing, trainers, translators, interpreters. Uh, well, news readers. Hmm? There are so many news readers, and these days, yeah, poets. Wonderful. So you see that in today's dynamic world, it's not just that one type of logical mathematical intelligence which can give you a great career. Stand-up comedians. So the range has really broadened in today's times, and so understanding of intelligence has also broadened. But why are we discussing all of this? Is because we are here to discuss these two things. Emotional intelligence comprises of these two things: intrapersonal intelligence and interpersonal intelligence. Intrapersonal intelligence is understanding yourself, your own needs, feelings, your understanding your assumptions, your belief system, your value system, and understanding the feelings and needs of others, the interpersonal intelligence. So this is what comprises of emotional intelligence. Hmm? And irrespective of whatever profession you are in, hmm, मैं यहाँ पे like I'm putting it on record that a naturalist may not or need not have musical intelligence or bodily kinesthetic intelligence. An architect need not have say, linguistic intelligence, right, or bodily kinesthetic intelligence. But each one of these professions need to have intrapersonal and interpersonal intelligence, because this two aspects are important, not just to be successful in your career, but to be successful in earning a livelihood, but successful in living a meaningful life. And therefore this intrapersonal means to understand yourself, and interpersonal means to understand others and deal with others, right? Understand your own emotions and handle your emotions very properly, and to understand the emotions of others and handle them properly. So this combination is what is called as emotional intelligence. And so Daniel Goleman, who is considered as the modern founder of the branch of emotional intelligence, he says that there are four components of emotional intelligence. First is self awareness, being aware of your feeling, needs, assumptions. आजकल बहुत एक वर्ड काफी प्रचलित है, KYC करा लो. What is KYC? Can someone type? Know your customer, right? But one more, one very important other aspect is KYS, know yourself. Every organization, right? You know your customer, but if you don't know your own strengths and weaknesses properly, so they do an environmental scan. The organization, they do an environmental scan to understand the customers, the markets, and everything outside. But these days, the organizations have also added an organizational scan, कि भाई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को खुद की स्ट्रेंथ और वीकनेस भी पता होनी चाहिए, राइट? Otherwise you will start competing in the wrong market, right? So this is applicable at the level of organization and the level of individuals. Unless we understand what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what is a special talent which you have, what is your nature, किस परिस्थिति में या किस एसोसिएशन में you are not comfortable, and in which situation, in with which kind of people you are comfortable, and you blossom. Unless you have that introspection, you will always be cribbing, and you will always be, you know uh, your energy will be drained without any reason, right? Because you don't know what is the best environment. जैसे जैसे एक किसान को पता होता है कि मेरी धरती पे मेरा जो सॉइल है, डेक्कन का सॉइल में अलग क्रॉप्स उगता है, पंजाब के सॉइल में अलग क्रॉप्स उगेगा, डेक्कन के सॉइल में वो बोलते कॉटन अच्छा उगेगा, पंजाब में you have wheat crops. So if you don't understand your soil, you won't know which plant to sow, right? So similarly, if you don't understand your inner soil, कि आपका खुद का क्या नेचर है, you won't know where what is real success for you, right? We'll just keep comparing ourselves with others, right? And an original is always worth more than a photocopy. All our lives we are trying to be photocopies of others because we don't know what is our original strength. So therefore the KYS, self-awareness, is of utmost importance. Next is interpersonal awareness, which means being aware of the feelings and needs of others, right? In today's world, often people become so indifferent and callous towards others, and we are hearing so many things about it, that पहले you had a shoulder to cry, you had a person to kind of caress and support you in your times of distress, but these days this is something which we are lacking. Abhi, with the modern age, modern era, what has happened is that we have taller buildings, but shorter tempers. ऊंची इमारतें हैं, but we are very quick to become angry. Taller buildings but shorter tempers. Broader freeways but narrower viewpoints. सड़कें चौड़ी हैं लेकिन नजरिए बहुत सकड़े हैं, right? And there's a lot of traffic jam out here. Traffic jam of thoughts out here. So we have taller buildings, shorter tempers, broader freeways, narrower viewpoints. Man has gone to the moon and has come back, but doesn't have time to go to the neighbor next door and inquire about their well-being, right? We have more comforts and luxuries, but less time. We have more medicines, but less health. We have got more degrees, but less sense. So all of these things are because that ability to understand the needs and feelings of others is not there. So we have become very indifferent and callous, right? We are supposed to love things and use, we are supposed to love people and use things, but on the contrary, we are loving things and using people to get those things, right? So that's where this interpersonal awareness is very important. And then self conduct is managing and channelizing your emotions appropriately, and then building appropriate relationships with others is interpersonal conduct. So this is what we call as emotional intelligence. So if someone of you is in doubt कि भैया emotional intelligence है क्या चीज, इस कोर्स में हमें सीखने क्या मिलेगा, so these are the four things that you will learn. These are the four things where you will get mastery. And if you feel that this is something important for you, then you must sign up for our full course. So basically what this course is about is understanding that self-awareness, that ability to understand your own nature and your own needs, and then interpersonal awareness to be able to understand and empathize with others, the separate and distinguish the good from the bad, because the world around may not always be good. Sometimes we get cheated and manipulated by others because we can't understand their intentions. But after you do this course, probably you will get that sixth sense to understand कि भाई यहाँ दाल में कुछ काला है, right? So that is something Yudhishthir Maharaj didn't have. He was being gullible. In the Mahabharata, he was again and again being cheated and manipulated. But then Krishna, he gave the Pandavas that emotional intelligence by which they could empathize when needed, and they could strategize when needed, right? So this self-awareness, interpersonal awareness, and self-conduct, the ability to manage and channelize your emotions appropriately, and to build appropriate relationship with others, is something. These are the four things that we will learn through the passage of this course. All right. Let's begin with the, so having set up that what is the content of the course, let's see if we can take up some of the topics in the course. Okay, I have a video for all of you. Would you care for a video? Yes? Okay, let's see.
Prabhu, there's no sound.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Anyways, they don't have any language. So beautiful and sweet, isn't it? Yeah. Like these kids, these small kids, you can see that uh, although they don't, they haven't even learned to speak, but it was so cute, it was so charming, and it was so heartwarming that how जैसे वो एक बच्चा दूसरे को गला लगाता है, फिर वो तीसरा चौथे को लगाता है, फिर पहला तीसरे को लगाता है, फिर दूसरा चौथे को लगाता है. It's not that they are like जैसे in this world we compete to actually prove ourselves superior. We compete to show others down. But here there is a competition to love each other कि भाई तूने इसे गले लगाया, भाई चलो मैं भी इसे गले लगा लेता हूँ. And how beautiful the world would be if, like these children, we had this simple heart, we had a simple loving heart, isn't it? But our story of the modern world is like this. बचपन में दिल हमारा इतना बड़ा था, शायद बुद्धि थोड़ी कम थी. फिर as we grew, the brain started growing and the heart started narrowing down. And now we have figured everything out. Hmm? But we have a very small, cringy, stingy heart. Hmm? And this is a story. All of these children, these वो छोटे छोटे बच्चों को, they don't even, have any language. Hmm? They haven't learned any language, but still they are able to communicate, hmm, the language of love. And all of us, we have we have an artillery of very very exquisite vocabulary. पूरा artillery अच्छा हमारा vocabulary है, लेकिन उस vocabulary से क्या कर रहे हैं? दुनिया से लड़ रहे हैं. दुनिया एक दूसरे से लड़ रही है, हर जगह वॉर खुले पड़े हैं. रशिया, यूक्रेन, पैलेस्टीन, इजराइल, अभी तो ट्रेड वॉर्स चालू है. Why? Because we don't have real control over and awareness and control over the emotions, right? We are emotionally bankrupt. These children, they are emotionally very wealthy, but we tend to be sometimes emotionally bankrupt. So just seeing these lines coming up, uh, trying to, okay, fine. So basically the point was that, despite all of this very very elaborate vocabulary, these days we are struggling with finding deeper meaningful connections with people. And that's the story. And even if you see animals, even dogs are said to have very good emotional intelligence, right? That's why they are so popular. क्योंकि जो लोगों से प्रेम मिलना चाहिए वो नहीं मिल रहा है, तो फिर क्या घर में फिर कुत्ता पालना पड़ता है भाई. Because what people are supposed to give us, people don't have that emotional intelligence. Dog understands. if you are if you are on a particular day very distraught or morose or anxious, the dog understands and will sheepishly come and sit next to you, just waiting for you to look at him. On a particular day you are very elated, he or she, the dog will sense your happiness and come and celebrate with you. So if only the humans would also have this emotional intelligence, right? Which even these small children or even an animal like a dog has, but humans have lost this emotional intelligence. So with the 21st century and the artificial intelligence, what has happened is man has become like a machine, and machines are becoming like humans. Isn't it? Machines are becoming like humans. मतलब chat gpt is actually chat gpt ho ya Gemini ho, they will answer questions as if there's a live person sitting next in front of you. They'll give such empathetic answers, such creative and empathetic answers. आपको you feel like a very very cultured civilized person. So it will seem that a person is a very cultured and civilized person. So let me just stop sharing and reshare the screen. Okay. Yeah, so the screen is visible now. Okay. Uh, so so what we were discussing, that uh, with the artificial intelligence, machines have become like humans and humans have become like machines, that we almost have become so mechanical that the other person doesn't feel that sense of reciprocation, right? How do we get there? So that is the big question, which you know this sad story of our times is something which you will be able to overcome if when you go through this entire course. This entire journey through the Bhagavad Gita will help us become more empathetic, more kind, more generous. At the same time, not be taken advantage of by others, be also be able to differentiate and distinguish, when to be kind and when to withdraw, or when to be keep that distance or fence. So how to overcome this emotional bankruptcy? So knowledge today is finger deep. पहले बुकिश नॉलेज होता था, अभी क्लिकिश नॉलेज है, पहले बोलते थे बाय हार्ट करो, अभी क्या होता है कि एवरीथिंग इज ऑन गूगल, सो यू जस्ट टाइप थिंग्स एंड रेसिपी पता करना है, रास्ता पता करना है, फॉर्मूला पता करना है, एवरीथिंग इज ऑन गूगल, वी डोंट रिमेम्बर एनीथिंग, राइट? सो नॉलेज इज फिंगर डीप, so therefore humans are hooked, machines are learning, that I was talking. हम लोग वी आर जस्ट डूम्सडे स्क्रॉलिंग कर रहे हैं और मशीन्स बैठ के पढ़ रही है, जितना भी पोएट्री है, आर्ट, जितना भी लिटरेचर है, प्रोज है, सब मशीन्स बैठ के पढ़ रही है, और हम क्या कर रहे हैं? एंड ऑफ द डे, एंड ऑफ द सब कुछ स्क्रॉलिंग कर रहे हैं. Experiences have become selfie deep. So emotional intelligence also means to be able to experience things in life. तो क्या हो रहा है कि because we are all so much selfie conscious, that you go for a school reunion, you go for a vacation to the mountains, the first thought that crosses your mind, the world should know about it, right? First of all, you also have not experienced, और आप दुनिया को एक्सपीरियंस करवाना चाहते हो, राइट? सो दिस इज वेयर वी हैव बिकम इमोशनली बैंकरप्ट, कि हम लोग ने खुद ने एक्सपीरियंस करना बंद कर दिया. हम जस्ट वो एक छोटे से बॉक्स में सब कुछ कैद करना चाहते हैं. आप उस बॉक्स में तो कैद कर लोगे, लेकिन यहाँ पे कुछ एक्सपीरियंस आपका रजिस्टर नहीं हो रहा है. सो दिस इज लैक ऑफ इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस, टू बी एबल टू एक्सपीरियंस थिंग्स इन लाइफ, टू बी एबल टू हैव पर्सपेक्टिव्स. And even if you are giving charity, do you want the world to know about it? Right? Not. So, and then experiences are selfie deep, emotions have become smiley deep. So imagine a person who in your life, कभी भी कुछ आपके जीवन में कुछ तकलीफ आती है, कुछ कभी खुशी कभी गम, if you are so happy, you think of that person, I'll share with that person. And if you are very sad, very let down, you think of that one person you would like to share that with. They could be your parents, your friends, your spouse, whoever. Think of that one person, and type in the chat box that what do you feel when you are in agony, in pain, in grief. And जब आप उस व्यक्ति से जाके अपने दिल की बात बताते हो, तो what is it that you feel? Emotional literacy. So here we will help you gain emotional literacy. So let us see who can name their feeling. जब आप you are going through some grief, agony, difficulty, lot of pain in life, और you know that one person कि मतलब वो मेरी बात सुनेंगे, वो he or she will have the patience, he will or she will have the sensitivity and empathy, feel light-hearted, feel that sense of relief. Okay, unfortunately, some of us may not even have someone whom we can trust for this. You definitely feel relaxed if you find such a person. You know that such a person exists for me, your bestie, and you feel supported, unburdened, place of comfort, the place of shelter. So जो अच्छे समय में आपका साथ देते हैं उन्हें रिश्ते कहते हैं. जो अच्छे समय में साथ दें वो क्या होते हैं? वो रिश्ते होते हैं. और जो बुरे समय में भी आपका साथ न छोड़ें वो फरिश्ते होते हैं, right? So these are the kind of people, these are the one or two people, if you get, you are emotionally very, very rich. You are emotionally very rich, even if you have one or two such people on whose shoulders you can cry, on who will celebrate your victories and your success, not cry for your success कि भाई ये इतना आगे का निकल गया, right? और आपके जीवन में अगर एक दो ऐसे भी लोग हैं, you are very, very fortunate. But the law of karma states that do unto others what you want others to do to you. क्योंकि जैसा आप दुनिया के साथ करते हो वैसा आपके साथ होता है. अगर आप किसी के ऐसे मित्र नहीं बने हैं, then you can't also expect that you will also get such a farishte in your life. Hmm? So if you want such a person in your, if you want such a one or two people in our life, ask yourself the question: Are you that one? Are you such a person for someone else? Hmm? Be the friend you wish to have. बट प्रॉब्लम क्या हो गया है, हमारे इमोशंस इतने शैलो हो गए हैं कि हम किसी की लाइफ में कुछ होता है बस एक इमोजी भेज के भूल जाते हैं. आपका फ्रेंड आके बोलता है कि आई लॉस्ट माय फादर, आई एम इन सो मच पेन, एंड देन यू सेंड अ स्माइली क्राइंग इमोजी भेज देते हैं. उसके बाद नेक्स्ट महीने पूछते हैं, अरे पापा कहाँ है? तो मैं तुझे बताया तो था ना, और सॉरी सॉरी सॉरी, आई एम सॉरी, आई फॉरगॉट अबाउट इट. So you see, our emotions are so shallow. We never felt the pain of that other person. उस व्यक्ति का हमने दुख महसूस ही नहीं किया तो हमें बात ही याद नहीं रहती है, right? So because things have become so shallow, so this is where basically we are trying to share that how emotional richness is something which we all need and which we all should be able to share with others. And that's what we'll see through this course, at how you can become emotionally rich to be able to be that one friend for someone else and receive such friends in your life, attract such friends in your life. And then relationships, ultimately, because our experiences are selfie deep, our emotions are smiley deep, ultimately our relationships become screen deep. कि भाई मेरा नीदरलैंड में दोस्त है लेकिन नेबरहुड में नहीं है, मेरा पोलैंड में दोस्त है लेकिन पड़ोस में नहीं है, right? So that's the sad state, that relationships have taken such a big toll in today's times because ये emotional richness नहीं है, emotional shallowness है. And if at all, you know, अभी देखिए like kind of this is nice graffiti कि भाई किसी को कुछ बताना भी है ना तो वो आपकी बात नहीं सुनेंगे, आप उनको व्हाट्सएप करो या ईमेल करो. So the mother is calling, the son is not hearing. So then the father sends an email कि dear Andy, the dinner is ready, please sign off and come down. So that's when, because you know we are in that whole virtual world, right? So no, this is something extreme. See if you can handle this. Our communications have also have become so shallow, right? Relationships have become shallow. Wish if we could have deeper, meaningful relationships. Okay, and then ultimately what has happened, character has become pocket deep. कि क्योंकि हमारे इमोशंस इतने शैलो हैं, हम किसी दूसरे का दुख और सुख में साथ नहीं दे सकते. वी हैव बिकम सो सेल्फिश कि भाई तुम किसी का पॉकेट भर दो ना सफिशिएंटली, उनका कैरेक्टर बाहर निकल के आ जाता है, राइट? So this is the kind of world we are living in, and because of that we can't trust anyone. And because that character is not there, trust is not there, bonding is not there, exchange is not there, and relationships are not there. Because relationships are not there, there is loneliness, there is vacuum. And UK has created, United Kingdom has created a minister for loneliness. क्योंकि लोग इतने अकेलापन महसूस कर रहे हैं. मतलब सोचिए, वाटर डिपार्टमेंट, वाटर मिनिस्ट्री, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी मिनिस्ट्रीज, वो सब है, रोडवे मिनिस्ट्री की जरूरत है. अभी लोनलीनेस मिनिस्ट्री आ गया because this has become such a big problem, right? So the Bhagavad Gita can help solve all of these problems for the world. Bhagavad Gita can help uplift humanity from its darkest hour, where humans have become like machines, and although the machines are learning, but humans have lost that sense of humanness. And these are the refined emotions जिसको बोलते हैं ना, when I asked you, think of that one person, and आपने कहा कि भाई I feel so light, I feel so relieved कि मेरे लिए वो व्यक्ति है, वो friend है, right? You feel so relieved, so so light. So if we could create a world where we would have abundance of such people, beginning from all of you, and this course is geared to help us overcome that. But if we don't do this, then you know what happens? Time decides who you meet in your life. Your heart decides who you want in your life, but your behavior will ultimately determine who is left in your life. Yeah, many times, uh, we can't have control over whom we meet in life. जो मिलते हैं उनमें से कुछ ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो हमें पसंद आते हैं, जिनके साथ हम रहना चाहते हैं, बट हमारा बिहेवियर कंडक्ट ऐसा हो जाता है कि वही लोग, those people whom we want around us, they find our conduct behavior so toxic that they don't want anything to do with us. This person is someone I need, but then we tend to become so insecure and possessive that the person feels suffocated. Why do you feel insecure? Because you are emotionally bankrupt. जो फाइनेंशियली, जो जिसका कमजोर होता है पोजीशन, उसके लिए लाइक दे बिकम वेरी स्टिंजी. मतलब अच्छे, मतलब बच्चे के एजुकेशन के लिए भी 100 बार सोचेंगे, राइट? सो सिमिलरली इमोशनली आप बहुत पुअर हो, so then you become insecure. You become very very fragile. So therefore, uh, this is something therefore which is very important, very very pertinent, that if you want to attract the right kind of people in our life, if we want to retain the right kind of people in our life, we must become emotionally rich. Otherwise we will keep losing the best of people, from our surroundings, right? We will keep alienating those people. And then चलिए, ये तो relationship की बात हो गई. What about career? Your intelligence, your IQ may help you secure a great job, but your EQ will determine whether you will stay and soar in that job, whether you will grow in that job. So there have been examples, like coming from IIT, I have, friends who have had great IQ, but somewhere their EQ was, their temper wasn't at the right place. I'll give you an example of the CEO of Microsoft. So after Bill Gates, the successor was Steve Ballmer in the year 2001. So Bill Gates, he appointed Steve Ballmer as the CEO of Microsoft. Big position, isn't it? And this person was so strategic, so smart, and with such IQ, and that helped him reach there. But did you know that he could not continue on that position? In fact, he was unceremoniously removed. Why? Because he didn't have control over his temper. This person was known to be so control freak and so much hot tempered. मतलब इनका इतना short tempered थे कि he was caught on camera throwing a chair on one of his employees, who said, I am leaving Microsoft to go to Google. And you see, मतलब उसके IQ ने उसको वहां तक लेके गया, लेकिन EQ नहीं था ना. So you get sacked from the position of CEO. And even the kind of work culture and environment, organizational environment he created was of fear. And because everyone was in fear, when there is fear, there is no creativity. Whenever you are in a fearful situation, आप creative हो सकते हो? Think about it. No, your creativity goes for a toss. You are just in survival mode. कि भाई ये बॉस को एलियनेट नहीं करना है, गुस्सा नहीं करना है, उसके लिए क्या करना है? You can't think of future, you can't think of strategy. So everyone was in survival mode, and therefore Microsoft could not innovate in the period in which he was the CEO, and consequently Microsoft lost out on a number of fronts in competition with Apple and Google. Right? Apple was producing, was going up in iPhones, and Android phones were coming out, but Microsoft, you see, never was able to crack that market, because you see, one person who had IQ but not sufficient EQ. तो इवन आप मतलब केवल रिलेशनशिप की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. अगर आपको करियर में सक्सेस चाहिए ना, और सस्टेन करना है वो सक्सेस, देन आल्सो वी नीड दिस EQ, दिस इमोशनल क्वोशिएंट, कि भाई अपने इमोशंस को रेस्ट्रेन करके एंड चैनलाइज करें. भाई ठीक है, ही इज अपसेट विद दैट एम्प्लॉय, बट देयर इज अ वे टू एक्सप्रेस. देयर इज अ सिविलाइज्ड एंड अ कंस्ट्रक्टिव वे टू एक्सप्रेस that feeling of being dissatisfied. But if you don't know how to express your feelings, then you end up creating more problems then solutions. So IQ may help you get solutions to problems, but EQ will end up creating bigger problems which have no solutions. How many times have we put ourselves in complex situations by silly things, जिसको हम बाद में guilt, we keep on going on guilt trips. मैंने ऐसा क्यों कह दिया, मैंने ऐसा क्यों कर दिया, why did I act in such a rash way? And all of us have examples of हमसे ऐसा चीजें हो जाता है, मतलब why? Because we don't know how to channelize our emotions, we don't know how to express our emotions. And that's where आपका highest IQ भी होने के बाद में क्या होता है, we end up creating bigger problems, which you see with the greatest minds on planet. हमने क्या बनाया, हमने atom bombs बनाए हैं, right? Now whether atom bomb is a solution or a problem, we have created a death knell for the whole world. So it's not necessary कि भाई IQ is the biggest thing. Actually EQ is more important than IQ, to be able to regulate one's emotions and know how to channelize. And ultimately all of us in our life, apart from our relationship growth, apart from our career growth, apart from day-to-day problems, we go through what is called as life quakes. So what is this life quake? Earthquake, we all know earthquake. Recently Myanmar was struck with a very deadly earthquake, and thousands of people lost their lives. Our prayers for them and the families. But in our lives also, we go through what is called as life quakes. Life quakes are events and situations where uh, you go through major life shifts. मतलब आपके लाइफ में ऐसे भूकंप आते हैं, कुछ ऐसी चीजें होती हैं which which shake every the foundation of your life. जैसे some losing a loved one, very close loved one, dies. That's a great quake in your life. Like each one of us have one or two such stories to tell, where how much we were completely broken and torn apart by loss of a loved one, or maybe a financial strain. We got into some debts and some financial. अभी तो कितने लोगों के साथ में साइबर फ्रॉड्स हो रहे हैं, साइबर अरेस्ट हो रहे हैं, किसी का पूरे लाइफ टाइम का सेविंग, हार्ड वर्क का सेविंग 3-5 करोड़ साइबर फ्रॉड, साइबर अरेस्ट में निकाल दिया. It's a major life quake for such a person. So financial reversals or relationships or health crisis. Suddenly one fine day you get a medical report which changes everything in your life. You had certain plans, you had certain ideas of how you are going to lead your life, and then suddenly one report from the laboratory tells you that you have a heart disease or a cancer or something, and this is something which has become so rampant in the modern world. The question is, how do we handle these life quakes? जब ये life quakes आते हैं हमारे जीवन में, do we have that emotional resilience and strength to handle them? And I can tell you, a story of people who completely broke down because of those life quakes, and people who took that life quake as an opportunity to rebuild something greater, something grander, something more powerful. So how do you take a life quake and convert it into a blessing or an opportunity? So that requires emotional richness, emotional strength, emotional resilience, and that is something which Bhagavad Gita, the principles of the Bhagavad Gita can help us get, because Arjuna was going through a major life quake in life. उनके लाइफ में वो एक जो पॉइंट था where he had to fight all of these relatives and gurus, that was a major life quake, shattering situation. But then how did he overcome that life quake and rebuild his life? So That is something which the Bhagavad Gita will help us, and the emotional intelligence that we will gain from the Bhagavad Gita will help us. So I can run you through the whole. Just stop the screen share, and so I just gave you an introduction to the course. I can run you through in next few minutes to an overview of what else is going to come in this course, and then leave some 5-10 minutes for question and answers. Is it a good plan? Okay.
All right. So let me share. So far, what we have discussed is we started off with seeing what is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence means four things: self-awareness, interpersonal awareness, self-regulation, self-conduct, and interpersonal conduct. So these are the four things, components of emotional intelligence. And we saw how Bhagavad Gita, it began with Arjuna becoming emotionally bankrupt, emotionally distraught, and then Bhagavad Gita brought about an emotional transformation in Arjuna. He became rich from a state of bankruptcy. He became emotionally rich by the whole journey of Gita. And in your own life, individual lives, we may have situations of emotional bankruptcy, and then how we can find that emotional richness in our life is something we will see through the Bhagavad Gita. Okay,
Prabhuji, you can mute everyone. Someone is mic is open. It is disturbing.
Okay. So I have muted everyone. I hope now it should be fine. Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, and then we discuss about the emotional richness and the emotional bankruptcy, and then the current times, especially how it is so important that we develop this emotional richness uh, for several things. Because if we want the right kind of people to stick around us, we need that emotional richness. If we want to grow in our career, then more than IQ, we need the EQ. And there's a Harvard Business article which says that 85% is your EQ, your people skills, your situational skills, more than your intellectual skills, which are important for making a mark in the career. And then dealing with reversals and challenges. For all of these things, emotional intelligence is important. Now I'll just give you a overview, an appetizer of what's in store in this course. And share the screen. So as we discussed, all of us are now curious कि भाई emotional maturity or emotional richness होना जरूरी है, but how emotionally mature and how emotionally rich we are. Can we do a self-assessment? Sometimes we can see around us there are people जो मतलब उम्र से तो 30, 40, 50 साल के हैं, लेकिन मतलब बच्चे जैसे हैं, जैसे children throw tantrums, मुझे चाहिए तो मुझे चाहिए, and they have become so restless. So we all have experience of people like that around us, who are physically mature but emotionally not mature. So how do we understand our emotional age and emotional maturity? So we have a parameters, a metric by which we will be able to share with you what's your emotional maturity. And if you are really kind of interested to know that, please type Y in the chat box. Yes. So what are some of the parameters? What is the metric? Great. So I'll share the metric with you. Okay. So here is the 5 parameter metric, which we'll be discussing through the course. That if you are emotionally mature, you have a sense of emotional security uh, where others' comments, others' reactions, others' responses don't make you insecure. अगर आपको कोई feedback देता है, आपको कोई कुछ कह देता है, and then you become insecure, yeah, by others' actions. If you become insecure by actions of others, of behavior of others, which means you are allowing others to control your emotions. है कि नहीं? Hmm? So this parameter of emotional security is something we have a parameter on that. Emotional inclusivity. So sometimes we operate on polarities. Me and like we focus on only our needs. So some people, they tend to be like so selfish and self-centered that the whole world should revolve around them. Whereas some people, they tend to be like become like doormats. कि भाई everyone come and use me, abuse me, and exploit me, and I am just here to self-sacrifice myself. So we go on these two extremes. Either it is all about me or it is all about others. So what emotional maturity means is that there's a win-win situation. That is inclusivity. Then the next is literacy. Literacy means the ability to understand your emotion and those of others, and to be able to express your emotions and reciprocate with emotions of others. So that is emotional literacy. Many times, how are you feeling? If you ask people, or if you ask ourselves, many times we aren't able to name our emotions, right? Name our feelings and emotions. So we'll have an emotional literacy thing. And then warmth. Warmth means sometimes, again, because emotions are all about polarity, so there's the two polarities are, sometimes what happens is people are so much dependent on others, जिसको बोलते हैं co-dependent, कि भाई वो अदर पर्सन के ऊपर आप इतना डिपेंडेंट हो जाते हो कि you just become like a uh, parasite on the other person. That codependency is there. On the other hand, sometimes we are so cold and indifferent. Some people tend to be very cold and indifferent because they have been hurt in relationships. They just want to stay away. So how do we bring about the right kind of warmth? So this is the 4th parameter. And then the 5th parameter is regulation. That those who are not emotionally mature, they tend to have emotional outbursts. जैसे मतलब बचपन में होता है ना कि बच्चे ने कुछ कॉकरोच को देख लिया तो उसको बुखार आ जाता है. Yeah, because the fear is so strong, the emotion of fear is so strong that produces high fever. So just like a child, it doesn't know how to handle fear. It breaks into fever. So similarly, many times we have bouts of emotional outbursts. We are not able to regulate and control and channelize our emotions properly. So these are the 5 parameters based on which we have a psychometric assessment, by which you will be able to see how emotionally mature you are and where you need to work on. So this is something which we'll be sharing with you during the course. And how many of you are seeing this stuff for the first time? Like this is not something which you will find just through some Google or Chat GPT search. This has taken years of research from the scriptures and from the contemporary modern psychology, that we have come up with these parameters. So stay tuned for more as we embark on this journey. So this is one thing. Emotional assessment is something which will take you through the course, and then we will take you through the neuroscience of emotions. So you see, there is a particular mechanism, neuroscience of emotions, that any emotion, its expression, creates certain physiological changes. Certain neurotransmitters are emitted, which create certain, for example, if someone goes through a fear, for example, someone has a dog chasing them. They go into a state of fear. Fear hota hai to kya hota hai? There's amygdala, part of the brain in the limbic system, which triggers a fight or flight mechanism, which basically means that your heartbeat will increase because it needs to pump in more oxygen, so that if you want to run, you can run faster. Your lungs, they expand so that you can breathe as much as possible. And then your pupils, the eyelids, they dilate, pupils dilate so that you can be able to see, focus, and then your digestion stops because all of your energy has to be directed towards escaping that threatening situation. So there are certain physiological responses to certain emotions. So what exactly happens in your body when you go through fear or anger, or you're sad or disgusted? So there is neurological mechanism, and then we will club it up with the psychological mechanism which is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, and we will bring to you the synergy of the neurology and the psychology together, based on the principles of the Bhagavad Gita. So that is another thing which is in store for you. uh, what exactly happens when you have certain feelings and emotions, how exactly it leads to certain physiological changes, as you can see here. And yeah, so these are some things which we will see, physiological changes. And then we will see verses from the Bhagavad Gita's framework for human emotions. For example, you see here, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matva sarvam pravartete iti matva bhajante mam bodha bhava samanvita. That someone who worships Krishna, Krishna says he has both. Bodha means intelligence and bhava means emotions. So someone who worships Krishna, is a devotee of Krishna, has a perfect synergy, harmony of Buddha, intelligence, and Bhava, emotions. The rational mind and the emotional mind come together in perfection in a devotee of Krishna. So Gita talks about in a lot of places about synergy of emotions and intelligence. Again, one more place, man mana adhat swa. Invest your mind in me, invest my buddhim nivesha, invest your emotions and intelligence in me. So Krishna is again and again reiterating that for perfecting your spiritual life, you need both intelligence and emotions. Then how do we bring about that emotional mastery? We will take you through a patented, so to speak, process, which is a process which we have worked upon and created, and based on the principles of the scriptures and based on our experience of, I've been in the monastery for 15 years now, mentoring students, mentoring people. So based on that experience, I'll be sharing with you this 6-step emotional mastery process, where we will be discussing how do you stabilize your emotions. So this is a 6-step process, S4s, where if you want to regulate your emotions, first we need to stabilize. So कहते हैं ना, deep breath, take deep breaths. So breath work is just one part of stabilizing your emotions. There are other things, good sleep, breath work, meditation, which actually ground and stabilize your emotions. We will take you through those processes. Then fencing is also important, because if someone is really manipulating you or taking advantage of your emotions, or like a burglar who is disturbing your emotions, we need to create fence for ourselves. How do we create those fences? And then emotional awareness is about understanding and observing your emotions. So we'll have that introspection, reflection exercises, where you can understand how do you observe your emotions and do proper introspection, journal writing, etc. That we will see. And then once you observe and understand what's happening, we need to reframe and rewire our emotions. So, and that's where the Gita companion comes in. So all of these different Gita maps that I showed, from fear to courage, so these maps are going to help us reframe and rewire our emotions. So this is the main part of this course, is how do we reframe and rewire our emotions. Ki bhai, if I am programmed to be fearful for small things, how do I turn to a stage of courage? So this basically entire sequence will help you reframe and rewire your emotions, and that this is something which we'll do for 18 negative emotions, transforming those 18 negative emotions into positive. So these are, and then after reframing and rewire, How do you channelize your emotions, communicate your emotions, and enrich your emotions spiritually? So this 6-step framework of emotional mastery is something which we'll be sharing with you in the course. And for each one of them, we'll have practices and processes which you can apply and see results yourself, so that ultimately you can become emotionally rich from a state of emotional bankruptcy, right? So this is what is there on offering for all of us. And I invite all of you to participate in this course enthusiastically. Uh, the housekeeping norms is something definitely we'll discuss once you are inside the course. But I'll invite all of you. So the link is being shared, will be shared on the community, WhatsApp community, and also I'll share right now. So you can purchase this course. So right now, like basically, we are giving this course at 5,000 rupees. There are certain costs involved, and we want to actually use this, because I have done a lot of courses, free courses also. For a couple of years, I was doing free online courses, but what I realized was initially you start with 30 people, but then because no one has put their skin in the game, people are not committed. 30 ka 15, 15 ka 10, 10 ka 5, 5 ka 1, then I realized that I am the only person. But then when I started doing paid courses, the last course which we did, a lot of the devotees who participate in that course, Sangeeta ji, Ishwar ji, they can vouch for it. We had almost like 90% attendance, and everyone was glued to the course. So that course we did on for 3 months, applications of Bhagavad Gita, and applications of Gita in leadership, in communication, in discipline and various aspects. So that's why we are keeping a commitment for you, and it's nothing compared in comparison to what you're going to receive in the course. So would Sangeeta ji or Ishwar ji would like to share some thoughts about what was their experience with the previous course and what has brought you again to yet another course for 3 months?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for a curtain raiser for yet another wonderful course that you are going to conduct. The Bhagavad Gita Applied was a very, very transformative course for me, personally speaking. It was, so beautifully conducted, and there were unique methodologies that you adopted, and then we studiously followed them, I for one, and then like taking notes and uploading, as well as making a presentation which is of your own personal problem or a society problem. And that was all very, very defining moment for me in terms of learning, getting enriched, especially the applications part of Bhagavad Gita. We've been reading Bhagavad Gita, but applications was something which was a little bit alien. So therefore, lot of inputs for a lot of skills how to apply that was available. And what brought me again here is your wonderful style of methodology that you follow, and of course the association of the other devotees who bring a lot of inputs in terms of learning. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I would
Hare Krishna.
second that, definitely. And
Sangeeta ji.
because of your unique style, Prabhuji. And you were so patient, so compassionate. We could ask you the most silliest of question, and you would treat that as equally important. And I mean, because of the question answers, the discussions, I got a lot of clarity. There were a lot of realizations on the way. And we hear Bhagavad Gita, we read Bhagavad Gita. I can say that about myself quite regularly, I would say. But you put everything in one place. All the shlokas linked to the other, one linked to the other. Not only the chapters, even the shlokas independently linked to each other, and the application. Because when we read Bhagavad Gita or any book for that matter on our own, it is kind of, we're experimenting how to apply this. Can I do this? Can I do that? But because of your guidance, the style of teaching, of course, and because of our discussions, like Shweta said, our discussions during the session were very enriching. That's the reason I'm there.
Thank you so much. So Sangeeta ji and Ishwar ji have already joined the course for your information, and requesting all of you to not lose any time and join. I have shared the link in the description, in the chat box, so you can sign up right now. And so tomorrow's session, where we will be discussing the emotional assessment, about how do you determine your emotional maturity. So that is something which we'll be working on tomorrow onwards. So please do sign up. So if there are any questions, please, yeah. Leela Madhuri Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a lot of conditioning. So I don't know, it is based on how I took birth or the conditions I underwent through childhood. So what I should do from my side in this course, because each one may take the knowledge also assimilate in different ways. So what must we do from our side to grab the most and become emotionally rich was my question, because I was really shocked that can I really become emotionally rich like that?
Okay, thank you for bringing up this question, and this is something which I would have wanted to talk about. So when we talk about, is it possible for me to become emotionally rich? Um, so with the background that I have, with the kind of scarcity, emotional scarcity that I have, so I want to really give hope and share hope that each one of us, we are potentially meant to be emotional billionaires. We all are supposed to be emotionally so secure and happy, and that's what this whole existence is meant for. Hmm? The journey of spiritual life is the journey from being emotionally bankrupt to becoming emotionally rich. You see, the development of spiritual growth is called Shraddha to Prem. The 9 stages of growth in spiritual life is Shraddha to Prem. And Prem, I think some advertisement. Okay, yeah. So Shraddha to Prem. So Prem is all about love, and love is the highest form of expression of human emotion, right? So that potential of pure expression of love is there in each and every one of us, but there are certain negative emotions which are stopping us from reaching our potential. So that journey is this journey of spiritual life is meant to take us through that ocean of devotion. We all are small rivers, and that's our small river is supposed to reach that bhakti rasamrit sindhu. Bhakti ras is emotion, right? So when we develop your bhakti ras, your emotions become like an ocean. Right now we are puddles. Our emotions are so scarce, our emotions are so shallow, like a puddle of water. कि किसी ने भी कुछ कुछ कहा कुछ किया तो फिर we get evaporated, the emotions become so volatile. But then as you grow in your spiritual journey, your emotions become more deeper and profound, like an ocean. And therefore Krishna says that a person who is a sthita pragya, he says in the second chapter, is like an ocean. That rivers of change, rivers of uncertainties and reversals will come and go in a person's life, but an ocean is always calm and composed. So basically, we all are supposed to be oceans of positive emotions, where our surroundings cannot, make us, disturbed. So that is the whole potential that each one and every one of us have. And what is stopping us from getting there? It's our negative emotions. And how do we get there? By rewiring our emotions. And therefore, Bhagavad Gita, the whole thing is Krishna step by step helped Arjun rewire his emotions. Initially, Arjuna's emotions were those of scarcity, those of dooms. Everything is doomed. There's nothing which can come out of this. He was hopeless, having a bleak situation. But then, in the end, Arjuna became emotionally very, very mature and emotionally very, very resilient. Is it not? So that journey happened because Krishna step by step rewired Arjuna's emotions. So that is something which we will see. You will yourself see कि हम एक एक इमोशन को लेने वाले हैं यहाँ पे इस कोर्स में. हम it is not that we are just going to take anxiety or stress. We are going to take loneliness as an emotion. If you are feeling lonely in life, how do you go from a state of loneliness to belonging? How do we rewire your mind to go from a state of feeling lonely to a state of belonging? That's there in the Gita. If you want to go from a state of गिल्ट, अगर आपके अंदर कुछ गिल्ट है जो आपको सता रहा है कि मैंने गलत कर दिया 5 साल पहले 10 साल पहले, एंड स्टिल यू आर फीलिंग गिल्टी, फ्रॉम अ स्टेट ऑफ गिल्ट टू अ स्टेट ऑफ ग्रोथ, हाउ डू यू गो देयर? What is the pathway that you should take? We are having the pathway from the Bhagavad Gita, and it's right there here in the book. And then, of course, I'm going to elaborate more on that. So if you struggle with envy, to go from envy to abundance, so that pathway is also there in the Gita. To go from, if you have a feeling of being victimized and abused, to go from that abuse to autonomy, that pathway is something else. From stress to shelter, from confusion to clarity. If you are feeling confused in life, ये एक एक इमोशन को हम हैंडल करेंगे, इसको समझेंगे और इसका पाथवे हम डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे भगवत गीता से. एंड इट्स नॉट मेड अप थिंग. यू कैन सी द वर्सेस ऑफ द गीता राइट हियर. अगर सेल्फ डाउट है, यू हैव लाइक यू रियली फील सेल्फ पिटी, तो वहां से आप कॉन्फिडेंस में कैसे जा सकते हो? सो ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स इंडिविजुअली we will discuss and we'll go in depth. It's not an overnight thing, but it's a process, and we are all fortunate that we have been born, we have got this knowledge of the Gita and it's available. The only thing is we need to take advantage, and the book is available on Amazon, also on Tulsi Books website. So you can on Amazon search for the Gita Companion by Rasikraman Das and you will find the book there. So it is available. But in the course, we will be taking you much more deeper than the book itself. Yes, Shubhangi, please ask. You can type or ask the question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a question.
Yes,
How do
please.
we take how do we take control of our emotions? No matter how much we try, there are people whom we trust and value, but when they say something we get hurt of, how can we remain composed? How can we develop this quality?
Okay, so Shubhangi is asking that no matter what people say or do to us, can we actually, stay composed and, resolved? So, I'll take you through the book itself. कि मतलब इसमें है solution directly. So yes. So here in kind of self doubt, यहाँ पे I am quoting 2.33 to 2.36, and what I am writing here is reckless public opinions and criticism can deeply hurt one and make one lose confidence. तो sometimes क्या होता है, हम लोग सोचते हैं अरे कोई मुझे कुछ भी कहेगा, मुझे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. Let's not live in a fool's paradise. We are still human and we tend to get affected. So Krishna told Arjun that for someone who is respected and honored, dishonor is worse than death. So if you do things in such a way, and if you stick around with such people who are doing criticism and backbiting, it is going to hurt you. So first of all, we need to create a fence around ourselves so that we don't stay with people who are into, पैथोलॉजिकल बैकबाइटिंग एंड क्रिटिसिज्म, फॉल्ट फाइंडिंग। तो ऐसे लोगों को हम अपने लाइफ से थोड़ा दूर रखें। और दूसरा, second thing is, when your duty is foremost on your mind, you don't bother much about the externals and your self image. क्या होता है, we don't have a purpose in life, and because we don't have a higher purpose in life, small things keep affecting us, right? If you have a higher purpose in life, then you know, say you are going for your exam, and you are going for a JEE exam. सोचो आपने 2 साल से उसके लिए प्रिपेयर किया है, सो यू हैव 4 साल से, कुछ लोग 6 साल से प्रिपेयर करते हैं। अभी वो आपका जेई एग्जाम हो रहा है, यू हैव अ ग्रेट पर्पस, बट देन ऑन उस दिन अगर से आईपीएल मैच मुंबई इंडियंस हार जाता है, विल इट अफेक्ट यू? It will not at all affect you. You won't even shed a thought because you have a higher purpose. This year, मतलब IPL के 80 मैचेस में से कौन क्या जीत रहा है, you won't even keep track of it. But we are keeping track of small so many things because we don't have a higher purpose. So how do we develop a higher purpose? So there are solutions to all of these things. Shubhangi and we'll take you through in the course. So there are questions. So the recordings will definitely be available. So although we recommend and request if you can be present online, that will be the best way of learning. But in case not possible, then definitely the recordings are available on the website. Okay, any other, someone, Tanya had raised her hand, so Tanya would like to unmute.
Yes. Hare Krishna sir, like with respect to that sphere acronym, the security part, we may not feel bothered when anyone comments, but when we get feedback from someone whom we adore or whom we look up to, then isn't it natural to be affected by that, because we are kind of dependent and we look up to that person? We, in that case, what should be our response?
Yes, so there's it's, as I said, it's not an overnight thing कि आज ही मैं आपके सब आपको emotionally rich बना देंगे. It's not an overnight journey. It's a process. So you can join us in the course, and then we'll take you through that journey, and you will see for yourself that how you are able to overcome that sense of being sucked into or drawn down or brought down when someone says something about us. So we will take you through that, definitely.
Probably there is one question in the chat box by Leela Madhuri.
So we will take all of these questions. ऐसा नहीं है कि आज ही कोर्स खत्म हो रहा है, अभी तो कोर्स चालू हुआ है. So tomorrow is the next session. So tomorrow 2 to 3:30, those who sign up for the course, they will be getting access to the course link for tomorrow, and I'm sure all of you I'll be able to see tomorrow in the course. So कल से हम start कर रहे हैं 2 to 3:30. Today was an introduction, and so we'll answer and probe into this and many other questions through the journey of the course. So I've shared the link, and I will again share the link. So please do enroll. We'll be happy to serve you for the next 3 months. We are starting tomorrow. Great. Hare Krishna. It was a wonderful time with all of you. Very, very deep gratitude for each one of you for sharing and spending your time, your last 1.5, 2 hours with us, and hoping to continue this journey with you for the next 3 months. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you.